Welcome back, and our guests, Johnson Chukwu and Kayode Udeji, economists both. And in the meantime, Chidi from Kafanchan has called in. Good morning to you, Chidi.
Good morning, Uncle Yori, and good morning to your guests.
Thank you for calling in, sir.
Yes, the issue concerning the exchange rate between the Naira and the dollar is multifaceted. Even though I am not an economist and I am not a financial expert, but my little knowledge shows me that in a situation where most of the things we use in this country are imported, Nigeria is similarly an import-oriented country. And as a result, the only the legal tender that is appreciated to do the bidding is always the dollar. There is no how any other money will not be low than the dollar. So if Nigeria, as it is now, under the able leadership of President Tinubu, should fix, for instance, our refineries so that Nigeria can be in position to produce largely the quantum of fuel we use in this country, you can understand that the need for dollar exchange will drastically reduce. And by the time the need for dollar exchange reduces, naturally, the price will come down drastically as well. So these are the areas the government must look into if actually they want to tame the high rise of the dollar against the Naira.
Okay.
Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you too, sir. Johnson, let me come back to you. Since the question has come up a couple of times now, two callers have urged an investigation of that figure of $6.8 billion on overdue forward payments. Where is the accounting for this thing? I think people just have lost trust, shall we say, and are saying that, look, can you please audit it, query it? Let us be sure that it is actually 6.8 billion. What does that say to you? First of all, is that a doable thing?
Well, I think you just hit on a nail. There is what you call trust deficit that Nigerians have been so badly dealt by the public service that they doubt anything coming from the public service. So the issues about forward deals, they are contractual in nature, and each contract will be specific, and each contract will have its own file, properly documented, the underlying transaction, the exchange that took place, and the commitment that was made. So it doesn't require any rocket science to audit it. I guess the reports will be there, and like I said, each of these transactions should ordinarily be properly documented and indexed to a particular customer or supplier or beneficiary. So it shouldn't be something that is debatable.
Oh, okay.
Of course, like I said, in Nigeria, it's a trust deficit without everything.
Okay.
I think one of the questions also referred to letters of credit. For every letter of credit that was established, several things have to take place. The Form M must be established. Documentary credit established. Bill of lading received. Customs clearance obtained, and other things. So unless if all those things are forged, then we're in a banana republic. But I don't think the debate should be whether the amount is correct. I guess before the minister made that comment, or the CBN governor made that comment, the minister made that comment, he should be fully abreast of the outstanding transactions.
Okay, hope that reassures those viewers, those two viewers in particular. Reverend Dominic, calling in from Alimosho. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Chief Yori. Good morning to your two guests over there. Yori, since I'm a layman and I'm a layman in economics, I want to ask your two guests this question, and I plead that you allow them to answer it. Why is it difficult? If you can hear what I said, I said I will like you to allow your two guests to answer my question. Since I'm a layman in economics, why is it difficult to stop black market in Nigeria? Why is it difficult to stop a black market in Nigeria? Why is it difficult for we to stop black market? Hence, everybody, since the days of Buhari now, I know that these black marketers are not helping matters. But why is it difficult for we to stop it? and it's still thriving. You want $200 in the bank, you will get it. You want $1,000 outside the same bank. As it happened 2 weeks ago to pay my son's school fees somewhere. The same bank, I woke up from the same bank, I got $500. But in my bank, in fact, if you see the information they get to me, the forms to fill, it's good that you don't fill it at all. But outside the same bank, I get $500 easily, somewhere, somehow. But inside bank, to get $100 was difficult. Why is it difficult to stop black market in Nigeria? I think that's simple.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Reverend Dominic. Since that is our topic, the Naira's slide, and the finance minister has said that the 6.8 billion on overdue forward payments is partly responsible. Okay, would you like to take a first stab at the question? Why is it impossible to prevent what effectively is a criminal, affair?
Well, the black market takes advantage of the supply gap. In the foreign exchange market, it's filling a vacuum, which unfortunately over the years, the banking system has not been able to address. If I need dollars, for instance, I want to go on holidays, if I'm able to approach my bank and I get dollars on the counter, it's solved. But if I can't get it there, I'll go to the black market. So it's about supply. It's a supply problem.
issue. But I think the import of the question, Reverend Dominic is asking is that the currency dealers get this same agents. They get it from the bank.
They get it from the bank. They get it from the diaspora and remittances and all the.
But it never comes to them directly, does it?
It's just one thing.
Okay.
The volume of foreign exchange outside the banking system too is significant, and government must do something about it. Even in African countries like South Africa, it's almost illegal for you to go to a corner and exchange currency.
But
it's happening.
But it happened in Nigeria before, didn't it?
Yes, it is. But what government must do now has reached a point that even policies, even force, may not be able to address the problem. Okay. Government must actively find a way, address the supply problem, then begin to migrate through incentives and policies, transactions in the black market to the official channels.
Yes.
And a lot of things are involved. For instance, we are talking about smuggling. Smuggling is funded by the black markets. As long as your borders are porous, there'll be smuggling. As long as you have smuggling, you've provided incentives for people to trade on other currency outside the banking system because banking won't fund smuggling. So a lot of factors are involved.
Yeah, but smuggling then brings in laundering, doesn't it?
Laundering and all the likes. So a lot of things, it's interwoven. Government must be able to say, why do people go? Why do people go to the black markets?
Okay.
And they must be able to address those reasons and make sure that they make those transactions, if possible, to be done in the official channels. That's number one. If those transactions are illegal, they must be able to ensure effective border policing to make sure that people don't do illegal transactions that would make the black markets effective or attractive.
Okay. I wanted to come to you also, Johnson, in case you wanted to add anything to that particular question posed by the viewer of why is it so difficult to, wipe out the black market. But let me, first of all, take Mr. Mohammed, who has called in from Apapa. Good morning to you. Mr. Mohammed in Apapa, are you there? Good morning, sir.
Yes. Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling in.
And your guest.
Go ahead, please.
Yes. Uncle Yori, the problem is very simple, Uncle Yori.
Okay.
Yeah. There should be a handshake between the CBN and the Ministry of Finance. You understand? The Ministry of Finance being responsible for the financial, for the fiscal policy, and then the CBN being responsible for the monetary policy. There should be a synergy between the two.
Okay.
One. And then number two, Okuliori, the CBN should rise up to its responsibility of compliance, of ensuring compliance, because most of these commercial banks are violating the CBN Act. Without any sanctions or repercussions. You understand? So if the compliance is firmly put in place, I think there could be some sanity.
All right, then. Thank you very much for calling in on that, Mr. Mohammed. I appreciate your calling in. Johnson, coming back to you, did you want to add anything to the original question? In fact, that last caller also, addressed it in part. Wondering out aloud, yeah. Reverend Dominic, that why is it almost impossible to wipe out the black market? It's a crime. It's a criminal affair.
Well, I think the first thing I need to correct, there's nothing criminal about the parallel market. So if it's criminal, the government would have been prosecuting it. There's nothing criminal about the parallel market. The parallel market evolved as a result of the economic conditions of the country.
Okay.
My colleague had
so it's not illegal. Effectively, it's not illegal.
About the parallel market. Basically, what has happened is that, or has continued to happen, because we believe with it since the beginning of this country. We've done import licensing. The import licensing is about FS allocation. We tried all sorts of allocation mechanisms to distribute that. We've always lived in a country where there was short supply of FS compared to the demand. And basically, now when you have short supply of a product compared to the demand, you have to find a way of rationing it, which is what the central bank does by allocating FX. Either when we're using what they call import licensing to allocate FX, or now they use any other method they use to allocate FX. Once you allocate not enough to meet the global demand or the universe of demand, what will happen is that people who cannot get will look for source to get. And when they look for source to get, even those who have gotten it may want, if they don't have a need for it, they may come to the market to sell it at the markup. But assuming they don't even sell to the markup, then it simply means that because you are allocating at a fixed rate, then those who are bringing in from other sources will not, there will be a gap between the rate they will get or the rate you will say, you are ready to sell, because there's a such supply. So you imagine open supply, like we're now talking about imagine more than 250 Naira to $1, because parallel official rate or NIFEX is about 747 Naira to $1. The parallel market is more than 1,000 Naira to $1. So the guy who gets his money from his brother who lives in the United States or Britain gets his dollar, maybe $1,000 will not go to the official window to sell, because he knows he will get for $1, he will get 747 Naira.
Yes.
But he has someone who wants to buy it because that person is desperate. Like you want to pay your school fees.
Yes.
You want to pay medical bills. You are in a desperate situation. You are ready to pay a premium above the parallel official rate. And then the guy will rather sell to you than to sell at a lower rate. So it's a commercial decision that people are taking.
So I take
can't legislate that up.
So I take your correction, Johnson, that there's nothing illegal about it. It was an evolution that got us to where we are at. And part of that is based on the... But when they keep on referring to it as black market rate, even in official publications, you're talking about the black market rate, and people tend to know that black market, but Johnson has explained it.
The black market has its own problems, counterfeiting and other likes.
Yes.
So the risk is high and it's not encouraged. Whether it's criminal or not, government must discourage it. The biggest problem you have with the black market is that it takes a lot of resources, foreign exchange, out of the regulated markets. Why do you have the regulated markets? It gives room for planning, for regulation, for efficiency. Unfortunately, everything that happens in the black market outside of planning, outside of government, outside of government reserves. So the money you can use for different purposes is tied down to outside the banking system.
And it is said to be a substantial...
Yes. What government must do ultimately is to begin to shrink that market, begin to make sure that every legal activity can be funded from the exchange, from the regulated market. That's number one. Then look at other things. What are the things funded from the black markets? If there are things government on its own can provide through swaps, through government-to-government transactions that will involve flow of foreign exchange, direct flow of foreign exchange, the government must begin to do those things. For instance, there was a time government used to give concession for rice importation. I keep talking about it. One of the advantages is that government can regulate what's coming in, going through the exchange, the normal channel, payment, everything, quality can be assessed, and that takes that transaction entirely away from the black market. Indeed. But what we do now is that the black market funds all of that presently. So they take the money, they make sure the money doesn't go to the banking system, goes to the black market. So government should identify those items that are fueling activities in the black market and begin to think of whether we produce them locally or whether we use government-to-government contacts, floor swap and all the likes to bring them in so that we begin to have less activities in the black market. But what we have now, the black market is so buoyant to the extent that they can't make government policy and the monetary system to work.
Okay. Johnson, in closing, I think you said earlier that, look, we didn't arrive here in a day, and so it's going to take a bit because people are sort of enthusiastic at the advent of a new administration and are looking forward, hopefully, following all of the trips abroad of the president and his team. But I guess caution is to be advised that it's not necessarily going to get better anytime very soon. Is that right?
Well, it will require a lot of hard lifting or heavy lifting for us to get the economy on the bend or on the mend. One of which is that we must address the issue of crude production, which will help us end a higher volume of foreign exchange. Then we must create areas of unmet demand, which will open up the economy and restore confidence for investors coming to the economy. And then we must address the issue of insecurity in the northern part of the country, the food base of the country, so that we improve on food production and engage in import substitution so that some of the food we currently import what is produced locally. These three elements must be done, and then we must also address the issue of refining petroleum products locally, so that will cut down import bills for refined products. These four elements, you will agree with me, are not things you will do overnight.
Indeed.
So they will take some time. Well, let's start from the one that is you can call it short to medium term, which is the issue of improving crude production. We need to address this agreement in the Niger Delta regions to improve crude production and enhance revenue from export of crude, like other countries who are producing crude are enjoying today.
Well, thank you very much, Johnson. Mr. Johnson Chukwu, economist, CEO, Cowry Assets Management Limited, for being on our program today. Thank you, as always. And Cowry, in studio here, in addition to what he said, we have to find a way to increase our dollar acquisition. And as opposed to, needing dollars because there's so much that we have to import and pay for with dollars. And Nigeria, it was the former President Buhari who was, in his anger had said that even toothpicks, we thought he was going to be able to do something about it. Even toothpicks are imported by Nigerians. I don't know. There must be all sorts of devices by which we can sort of bring our, consumption and therefore demand for the dollar down, right?
Yes, it's not rocket science.
It's not.
It's accountability, developing the economy, making sure that what comes to Nigeria from different sources, they are used for the good of the country. A lot of rent taking within the economy will always depress, reduce the value of the Naira. The problem with the Naira is simply because we have not done the right thing over the years.
So, well, now we have a central bank governor who has a reputation for, policies and sticking to the rules. And we'll see how far
it must cut down. The governors, the ministers, everybody in the public space must make sure that they do the right thing. Use Nigerian money for the good of the greater majority of the Nigerian people.
Thank you very much, Kade. Mr. Kade Uedeji, economist, with us this morning.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, that's our program. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I'm Yori Folare. Bye-bye for now.